You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
We are going to be getting into more of our community questions today. I'm actually just opening up our spreadsheet, or I should say it's just a giant pages document with thousands of questions that have come in over the past couple years. We, of course, answer these questions in the order that they come in. And honestly, it's funny, but, looking back now, over 4 years of answering these questions, a lot of them are in a similar vein, but there's always a unique kind of twist to each of these questions. So love being able to do these each and every weekend. Hopefully you enjoy tuning in. And I also say this. Now, sometimes the question isn't directly related to you. It might be not something that you're dealing with currently right now, but oftentimes we have a friend, we have a family member, a coworker, a loved one that's dealing with these particular issues. And the nice thing is that you can become more knowledgeable about it as well. And then you can share that information, either sharing the podcast or just sharing the information with them, and it could be that start that they need in order to turn that next page, that they can begin to get the help that they need, follow the protocol, read the book, get the advice, the motivation, whatever it is, like whatever they need. Hopefully this can be the catalyst that pushes them in that right direction. So thank you so much for tuning in. All of the questions will be available for you to read today at stephencabral.com/1479. So without further ado, let's dive right into today's show. First question is from Haven. Haven says, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. I've been a long-time listener, and I have successfully shared much of what you taught me with my friends and family. Last year, my 50-year-old mom, who struggled with her weight most of her life, became a listener as well. She successfully completed the CBO protocol and did a handful of the 14-day Doctor Cabral Detoxes. She could feel that it was helping, but she still needs to lose more than 5 pounds. This year, she is now on a weight loss program called Optivia, where you can eat 5 fuelings a day and 1 lean green meal a day. She's lost 30 pounds and talks about the diet. Proud of her accomplishments, but I worry about the long-term health effects. All are highly processed foods. Nutritional lists many unidentifiable chemicals. Plus, many of the lean and green recipes include processed meats, dairy, and gluten, and classify canola oil and margarine as healthy fats. I'm having a hard time finding words to explain to her the damage she could be potentially causing her body, and I'd wonder if you had any wisdom for her. Many thanks." Okay, well, that's too bad. I love people getting their goals. There's no doubt about it. But this could be dangerous, right? Because we know canola oil that's cooked. We know that margarine contains trans fats. We know what this does to inflammation in the body over time. It can affect the brain. It can affect the heart. I mean, really not great for long-term oxidation. My highest recommendation, Haven, is that what we do is we begin to transition from this more chemical-based meal plan. And it could just be simply super low carb and just 1 meal a day. It's not a great way to live, right? You could lose the weight that way, but not necessarily a great and healthy way to live a long-term life. So what I'd love to do is say, how do we begin to transition to 2 whole food meals a day? And how do we begin to take out a lot of that cow's milk-based dairy and that processed meat? How do we begin to replace it with healthy, much healthier choices, more of a Mediterranean-style diet? We don't have to go higher in the carbs if she's very sensitive to them right now, whatever it might be. And then how do we move to more something that's less chemicals, like a all-in-one, such as the daily nutritional support? So I can't recommend that enough. If she's already lost the weight, well, okay, now how do we maintain that? That's really what I'm looking to do. So, Haven, I appreciate you sharing a lot of your wisdom with your mom and others. Now your mom's done it, okay? So now we say, what do we do to transition to a much healthier style of eating? Or just say this, hey, Mom, would you mind looking up these ingredients? Or you can actually send her articles in each one and show all the detrimental health effects of a canola oil, of a margarine, or all of the unidentifiable chemicals, all those chemicals that they're putting in the shake. I'm not going to look up this brand right now because I'm not here to disparage any brands out there. I'm here to build the industry up. You'll never hear me talk negatively about another person or another brand. I just won't do it. I just refuse to do it. This is an industry where everybody attacks everybody and simply not interested in playing that game. Okay, Joanne is up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. My question is, I tend to get cracking noise, like a bubbly noise, between my joints, mainly my knees when I exercise. Do you know what may cause this? Is it a matter of building my strength and training up? I have only started training up again in the last month. Prior to that, I had a few months off and just walking mainly. I take your daily nutritional support and collagen every day. Kind regards, Joanna. Okay. All right, Joanna, I want you to head on over to stevencabral.com/podcasts and type in cracking joints. Remember, that's the keyword you want to use, cracking joints, and you'll find I talked about this way back in the day on episode 464. So this is a Vata-based disorder. It's in the synovial joint fluid, and you can actually get those pops from the air and the different changes in fluid inside of those joints. And a lot of people, it affects mainly the knees, oftentimes more of the ectomorph or the Vata-based type. There's more air and ether in the Vata-based type. Oftentimes, having a more nourishing diet can help with that. And sometimes simply there is more popping and cracking with this Vata-based type. Check out the full answer on episode 464. Thanks for writing in. Les is up next. Hi, Dr. Stephen Cabral. I had a question about the type of gelatin you use in products. Due to my religion, I do not consume pork, and I notice your omega-3 contains gelatin. Thank you. Yes, very good. Thank you for writing in. Typically, we do not use any type of pork-based gelatin. We'll sometimes use bovine-based gelatin and sometimes fish-based gelatin that's broken down. So it would depend on the product that you're talking about. What I recommend is writing into support at equilibriumnutrition.com and asking them what the gelatin is on the omega-3, and they will give you specifically that. And why I say that is just I don't know when someone's going to be asking this question as well in the future. So I can recommend, because we're always tweaking formulations just a little bit, whatever we can do. So for example, our new omega-3 contains wild Alaskan pollock, and it's still cold processed. It's still triglyceride bound. I mean, still the best of the best. But what we're always trying to do is work on the encapsulation method as well, so that we use the best possible encapsulation, such as our DR caps for our probiotics, which are the delayed release, etc. And remember, anytime it's a soft gel, it's most likely going to be a gelatin capsule. And the reason is that you can't have a vegetable-based capsule for a soft gel because it will leak right through the vegetable capsule. You see this all the time when people try to do it with krill oil, etc. It just leaks everywhere. So hopefully that was helpful. Thank you, Les, for writing in. To my knowledge right now, we don't use any pork in our products. I mean, for the most part, 95+% are vegan. But again, for a soft gel and for some of the others, you'll certainly want to write in, and then they'll give you the full answer. We have our manufacturers that can give you exactly what it is. Okay. Ryan's up next. What are your thoughts on the benefits of turmeric versus curcumin supplementation? I've read curcumin has troubles with bioavailability, and that combining it with black pepper and or certain water-soluble or fat-soluble forms, plus antioxidants, can help. But the jury still seems to be out. How much have you experimented with the different forms clinically, and what's your experience? Do different forms work better than others? Particularly interested in blood sugar benefits. Any new research you're aware of on turmeric and curcumin? Cheers. All right, this was written in on Ryan on 12/27. Ryan, head on over to stevencabral.com/podcast and type in curcumin. And when you type in curcumin, you will find a bunch of episodes. We won't go to 164, 354. Oh, 354 is a good one. But let me find the one on curcumin that you are looking for. But again, everything is right there. Everything is always at stevencabral.com/podcast and type in that keyword. All right, well, it's at least on episode 747. I can see that right there. And I believe it was like 564 as well. So let me just tackle your question either way. I'm happy to answer it. So we use turmeric, curcumin in our practice for sure. It's not one of our initial go-tos, and that's because it works directly on inflammation, and it's not a root cause-based issue, right? So like turmeric and curcumin don't help with root causes. Now, again, Don't get upset at me when I say that. It's still a great product, and it's going to be in part of our anti-aging line launching in late 2020. So for sure we use it, okay? Great for anti-aging, great for overall health, but not root causal, right? So if you have inflammatory-based pain, okay, curcumin, nice, no doubt about it. Turmeric, nice, but not working in the underlying root cause. You talked about blood sugar. That's one of the only basically negatives that could have is that someone with lower blood sugar, hypoglycemia, may actually go into lower blood sugar, even lower glucose when they take turmeric or curcumin. Okay, that's why it could be great for people with higher levels of glucose. Now, you said turmeric versus curcumin, and yes. So turmeric, think of this. Turmeric is the root itself, right? So that's the herb, and bright orange herb, bright orange root, and then the curcuminoids are essentially the extracts of what's inside the turmeric. So you said curcumin has trouble with bioavailability, but actually what you meant to say was turmeric has trouble with bioavailability. So if you take turmeric with black pepper or something we use in the nutritional supplement industry that helps to a very high degree is called bioperine, which is a black pepper extract. So in Ayurveda, they knew this when they used turmeric. And when I was overseas, we just used straight turmeric and we mixed it with black pepper. We actually mixed it with other spices as well, other heating-based spices, cayenne, etc. Cayenne would be part of the antioxidants, and that would help with thinning of the blood. And we would use that for many people with blood pressure, unhealthy levels of blood pressure, unhealthy levels of weight, etc. So yeah, again, curcumin is certainly the more clinical form. There are tons of studies. There are tons of studies that show that taking curcumin is much more bioavailable, like not just by a little bit, by about 4 to 5x. So for example, if you're taking straight turmeric capsules, you'll want to take 3 to 4 grams a day. So way back when I was using turmeric 15 years ago in my practice, we were using 3 to 4 grams of it a day. That's a lot. But now we can use a couple hundred milligrams, 400, 600 milligrams. And the reason is we can use it with the bioperine and we can use it in the curcumin form, and we're going to get much better bioavailability. So Ryan, hopefully that answers your question. And cheers. Grace is up next. Grace says, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. I have a question for you about a product I'm considering buying. I asked this question in the support page, and others were interested in hearing your opinion as well. You have spoken about the benefits of infrared saunas before, but I'm curious if you have seen or heard about infrared sauna blankets. I'm interested because they are much more cost-effective and more portable than traditional saunas. The brand I'm personally looking into is called Higher Dose. Do you know these sauna blankets produce the same benefits of the infrared? On a similar note, I'm a yoga teacher where I practice and teach in a heated room, and I sweat a lot. I'm curious if this produces the same benefit as an infrared sauna session. Is it worth using an infrared sauna if I regularly sweat in a heated room? Thanks in advance for your insight, and thank you for everything you do. Your work has significantly impacted my life and health." Thank you so much, Grace. That means a lot to me. Okay, let's break down your question. Have I heard of sauna blankets? Absolutely. Sauna blankets have been around, infrared sauna blankets have been around for quite some time. And you can get a lot of benefits of infrared sauna from an infrared blanket. Now, here's part of the issue. Those infrared blankets, especially where the plug comes in, can have much higher levels of EMFs. And those EMFs could disrupt the DNA and cause much more larger potential issues in the future. However, again, I don't know the brand you're talking about. They might already have tested for EMFs. Now, the difference with the blanket versus a lot of the infrared saunas is that the blanket's actually touching your body. So that's why we have to be careful that the EMFs are not. How can you test that? Very simple. Let's say the company offers you a 30-day guarantee on the product. Okay, so you order the product, but you also order the tri-field meter. If you've never heard of an EMF meter, please just go to stephencabral.com/podcast and type in EMF meter and you will find it. Okay, so the tri-field meter, the metric meter, those are both great. And so what you'll do is you'll simply lay the infrared sauna blanket down and you will go over it with your EMF meter. And that's it. And if there's just one hot spot, well, maybe you could put some Faraday fabric, it's called Faraday, Farraday, over that particular part to block that from actually touching your body. So yes, you can get a lot of benefit. Do you heat up as much with an infrared sauna blanket? I haven't found that to be true. I've used them, but you can actually get a pretty good sweat on, so not bad. Okay, so do I think they're as good as an infrared sauna? I do not. Do I think they can be an alternative for people looking to get those infrared waves? Yes, as long as they sweat. And here's why. Sweating with an infrared sauna has been shown to help remove heavy metals. So that's a pretty great thing. Now, let's go back to sweating in general. If you're sweating in a sauna, like a hot yoga room, you actually can remove a lot of toxins as well. And you can remove, believe it or not, mold-based byproducts such as an ochre toxin, which is a byproduct as well of an aspergillus-based mold, as well as others. So benefits from sweating, huge, right? You're getting some in that heated room. You're not getting the infrared sauna benefits. Now, it doesn't mean that you need to use an infrared sauna, but I can't say that sweating in that room is giving you the infrared benefits simply because there's no infrared waves. And if you don't get those infrared waves, then you don't get the benefit of the infrared sauna. So, Grace, thank you for writing in, and hopefully that was helpful. DB is up next. DB is asking, what are the natural remedies for tuberculosis? Can you cure it without the use of powerful medications? Okay, happy to answer this question. Just know that I do not diagnose, treat, or cure disease. That's out of my scope of practice. That's for licensed medical doctors only, and I do not play the game of being a licensed medical doctor. What we work on are underlying root cause-based issues. So what I can do is I can give you some things that may help you with some of the underlying root causal-based issues of tuberculosis. And then you can decide to work with your PCP, or you can decide to work on certain natural-based remedies. So when we look at tuberculosis, those people that don't know, it is quite dangerous. It's potentially dangerous. And it affects the lungs, and it's a specific bacteria that enters the lungs. So what we're looking at oftentimes, and this is what a lot of people use, are garlic, which is a great one to fight infections. Okay, so swallowing a clove or two of crushed garlic before bed can be very powerful. Using vitamin D to boost the immune system. Oftentimes people are using oregano oil as well as another natural powerful antibacterial. And they're using selenium. And it's interesting because selenium seems, along with vitamin C, to work to boost the immune system and remove toxins from our body. This is just fortuitous. With people with lung-based issues, I'm oftentimes recommending sauna as well. It doesn't need to even be infrared sauna, but I'm recommending sauna as well to help clear the body, right? To help clear a lot of these toxins from the body. So hopefully that at least gets you started. And then, of course, you can think about what works best for you. Dar is up next. I think we already answered a question by Dar, right? Or maybe that was yesterday. Anyway, let's answer Dar's next question. Lately, I've been loving this black bean, yam, and spinach wrap for dinner with a little garlic Caesar dressing from Costco. However, my wife mentioned that this is probably too heavy on the starch. What do you think? And what would you do, or what would you use instead of the beans if that's the case? How does too much starch affect digestion? I've heard it is jot good. I don't know what jot good is. Oh, not good. Maybe that's not. I'm going to take out that J and write an N. Not good. All right. Well, Dar, let me see if I can answer this for you. So you're having a black bean, yam, and spinach wrap with garlic Caesar dressing. Now, out of all of those things, the only thing that I wouldn't be up for is this wrap, unless it was one of the cassava flour ones or a thin gluten-free one, right? So that it's not like a lot of processed bread. I do like the Siete cassava flour wraps. I think those are great, so you could try that. And then just make sure your little garlic Caesar dressing does not contain cheese in it, because then I just would take that out as well. And you could find something else. I mean, you could find a more of a plant-based one, so you're not getting that. Okay, and then just make sure it doesn't contain canola oil or soybean oil. Make sure that it's an olive oil, herb. Maybe there's some apple cider vinegar that you could use instead. But besides that, I don't have an issue with this dinner at all. Now, who would I have an issue with it for? Well, those people where they wake up with a higher level of fasting glucose in the morning. Dar, if you don't have a higher level of fasting glucose in the morning, you're more of an ectomorph, or you're more of a Vata body type, you don't put on weight very easily, that you're not overweight, I have no issue with this at all. Yam, black bean, spinach for dinner? No, that sounds fantastic. I wish more of the world ate like this. It's certainly not that starch right there. Again, I don't know how much you're having. Like you might just be having one, or you might need two. Again, I don't know. Again, people's metabolism is different. But the black beans are going to contain all sorts of great nutrients. Like you get some B vitamins in there. You're going to get lots of fiber, protein. They're going to be balancing for the blood sugar and glucose. The yams will contain vitamin C, vitamin A. Those are lower glucose in the first place. You have spinach, so now you have iron. You have more B vitamins, antioxidants in that, more fiber. Definitely going to keep you satiated. Again, let's go with a cassava flour wrap or something like that. And then just some olive oil, apple cider-based vinegar-based dressing with some herbs in there. Fantastic. So unless you're dealing with glucose-based issues, fasting glucose the next morning, this is going to help you sleep better at night because those starches are actually going to allow you probably to produce a little bit more serotonin, calm cortisol levels. So Dar, to me, it seems like you're on the right track. Again, I don't have your lab numbers in front of me, your health stats. And as long as this doesn't give you gas or bloating or anything like that you might have candida overgrowth or SIBO, you're on the right pace. So I have nothing to say. And you know what? Let's end it there because that's a great one. And I love being able to say and reinforce for people too that you're not doing anything wrong. That for you, it might not be right. It might not be right for who told you it was doing wrong? Your wife? Okay. So it might not be even right for your wife. Like it might not be the right meal for her. But for you, it could be perfect. Maybe you're on your feet a lot of the day. Maybe you're expending a lot of calories. Again, we don't know. But if it's working for you, these are healthy whole foods. So let's go for it. So great job, Dar. Thank you, everyone, for writing in. I appreciate you. And of course, don't forget to tune in tomorrow, one of my favorite shows of the week, the Motivation and Mindset Monday, in order for us to get our week started off right. All right. Hopefully you had a great weekend, and I look forward to talking with you tomorrow. Take care. Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only two ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to stephencabral.com/rainbarrel.